Hey, welcome to my channel. This is my conclusion, my robotic affirmation conclusion. I probably won't make more videos about robotic affirmations here because I'm just not doing it as much anymore. But I did want to tell you what success I've had and how I interpret that and what I make of robotic affirmations and any kind of affirmation overall. First of all, robotic affirmations have a subliminal effect, and I think that's why they've been so effective for me, is because I'm repeating them. I'm not thinking about the words because I'm busy doing something else. And so while I'm doing that, I am not thinking about those words. My brain, my mind is not getting in the way and analysing the words, analysing what I'm saying so that it can tell me that it's not true because I'm not focused on those words. So they are dropping into the subconscious and they're having a hypnotic effect on me. If you went for hypnosis, you wouldn't have to listen to what the hypnotherapist said in order for that, whatever he or she is saying to you, to work. It's not about the rational mind picking up on things, it's about the subconscious mind. So that's my first conclusion. Second conclusion I came to was this: for me, I'm not going to push through resistance. I'm only ever going to use them where there is zero resistance. So I tried them for several things, and some things, if I could still feel resistance at the end of the week, I'd stop, because I realised that I was not getting the same feeling that I would have been getting, even though it being a subtle feeling, because I was doing something else. I think I was a little bit more aware of them. I think that's the best way to put it, a little bit more aware of the words. And that might have been down to the fact of what those things were. I'm not sure. So I had a rule that if you're still feeling that in a week, don't do them anymore. So I would just stop. Where I had zero resistance, everything happened really, really fast, within days. Absolutely within days. And I'm going to give an example because it was something I did for my son. And I've spoken about robotic affirmations before and said about how I did them for my son with one of his gaming channels. He's got two gaming channels, a new one and an older one where he's got about almost 40,000 subscribers on that one. So it's doing good. And it was a monetary thing for him at the time that I manifested, and it was all around his channel, although I wasn't necessarily affirming for that, but that's kind of what happened. But it happened in such a way that I hadn't been expecting. Again, it was a few days after I started, but this time he has a new gaming channel that he started not that long ago. There's hardly any, I think there's 5 videos on there now, 6 max. But at this time he had 3 videos on there. Yeah, I think there's only 5 on there now. And I selected one that had 18 views on it. It had been up for 24 hours. So the first 24 hours is when you get the most views anyway. And it only had 18. It was a brilliant video because he is a video editor. That's what he's trained in. So it's an excellent video, and I thought that deserves more views, but I get that the algorithm doesn't work like that, and I thought I'm going to use that as an experiment. What can I do with that video? So it's on 18 views. What can we do? So I chose these 2 phrases. This video is doing really well, and this video has gone viral. The video's gone viral bit, I said about 5 or 6 times and I dropped it because I thought I'm just putting added pressure on myself because I don't even know what I think viral is. So let's not do that. So I took that out and carried on with this video is doing really well. I did it twice a day for 10 minutes at a time while I was watching things that I enjoy on TV. That's what I did. And I think it was, well, I know real time I measured it for my members because that's what I do. On that members area, I do a lot of experimentation. And so I set the intention, and my intention was this video is going to do really well so that he can get monetized on that channel, so he can make money on that channel too. And that was it. So I was thinking, even if it gets between 2,000 and 5,000 views, that could happen. That's what I thought. Well, after the intention, I looked, 10 minutes later, I looked at that video, just to have another look and see what we were starting off at. And the views were the same, but he had changed the title slightly. Not much, but he had tweaked it. And I thought, that's interesting, because that's happened bang on when I started doing it. Okay, intention, not affirmation, because I hadn't even really started affirming then. Not really. Anyway, off I went. Next day, that video had 850 odd views. And I thought, awesome. Even if it had not done better than that, I would have been happy with that for a start point. But I carried on, and I thought, let's just carry on for a few days and see what happens. So it just kept jumping up, and I'm just going to cut to the chase. It's now on 320,000 views. How awesome is that? Like, even the huge YouTubers don't often get that amount of views. So that is that viral? I don't know whether you would class that as viral, but to me, if I was thinking about viral, I've been thinking about over 100,000 views, and it well did that. So what did it do? It allowed him to become monetized within about a week after I did it, which was awesome. And now that video goes up every single day, either 1, 2, 3 or 4,000 a day, but it was leaping up for that. So every day that video is making him money. And it's been up there for about 2 months now. Every day it makes him more money. So I got exactly what I wanted and then some, but there was no resistance. And that's what I'm saying. If there's resistance, it's different, and it's different because the feeling is different, I think. That's my conclusion I've come to. So I am not saying that you couldn't push through with an affirmation and get past that point, because I don't know. So you may well be able to, but for me, I don't want to go there. I have an obsessive personality, an obsessive mind, so I have to be careful how I use that, and I use it to my advantage these days completely. I'm where I am because of it in a lot of cases, so I don't diss myself for it, but I'm very careful where I allow my mind to go and how long I allow it to stay with certain things that may not serve me. So I don't want that. What I want to do is, normally if I really want something and I don't like this sight of the opposite or the feeling of the opposite, I will just go, I reject that, no way am I having that, this is what I want, and just pull myself to the focus of what I want. Not all the time, I'm not constantly focused on it, but I really feel that pull in the moment, and then I'll just let it go. The key is, as soon as you do that, to distract yourself for the next few minutes afterwards, because that is the point where you can get hooked on something. Right after it, you do something and then you can't let it go. But if you do something, then go and immediately distract yourself with either a thought or a feeling or an action that is away from what you're thinking about. That is key, I think, because that's immediate distraction. So your mind then sort of comes away from it for a bit and everything is calm. So that's my conclusion is that repetition works, because we are repeating ourselves every day. And when we're seeing a reality that we don't want anymore, we're still repeating words to ourselves every day that back up that reality. So of course repetition works. So if you're doing it with no resistance, I think for me, I'm just going to conclude for me, because I can't say for you, because I don't know what's going on in your minds and what you feel. It might be different than what I feel. But for me, I believe 100% that if I affirm for something and I have zero resistance, I'm going to get that. That's how I feel. And I don't know whether that's true, whether I'll prove myself right or wrong over time. But at the moment, that is how I feel, because that's what's happened, and it's happened really, really fast. But again, I'm never going to do it. I'm not going to push through resistance, because I'm in a point in my life where I don't feel I need to do that. Maybe I will one day, because something will happen and I'll change my mind. But at the moment, I don't need to do that, so I won't be doing that. And I'm not an expert on affirmations, but I can see what works for me and I can see what doesn't work for me. So I'm going with that. Yeah, repetition for sure, because again, we're doing it. You would have seen my last video where I talked about repetition. We are doing that all of the time. We're persisting often in the reality that we don't want, because we're persisting in the same old thoughts that we're having day after day after day. That's repetition. That's affirming. Whatever way you look at it, that is. So that's my conclusion. When I manifested something huge, because I will hear some coaches occasionally say, because I might be pointed in the direction of a coach by a client and say, look, what do you think of this? Just say you can only manifest with repetition, only manifest with affirmations. And for me, that hasn't been true. Can't say it's not true for them, but it isn't true for me, because when I manifested something huge for my friend, because I really wanted it for her and I did not want her to have to deal with the opposite, it took 6 weeks, and I only did it by rejecting what could be, what the reality she was experiencing in that moment. I rejected it and I pulled myself to what I wanted for her, because I wanted to experience that as well. I wanted her to experience it and to her to tell me, so that I would get the experience of knowing that all was well. 6 weeks later it happened. There wasn't much logic around that. If you'd looked at it, I mean, she was really shocked. I was shocked at how fast it happened, really. But then I thought, am I really shocked? Because I really felt that. And I felt like I was in that timeline, and that's the timeline she experienced, really, and then told me about it. So I then got to see her new experience, which was awesome. So I've never needed affirmations, but I like the idea of choosing a phrase, repeating it, and having something show up for me, because it does give you some sort of focus. Your mind has that strong link to your subconscious, and you're just putting something in there. And if you can do it with no resistance, why not? It's not a problem. But I don't want to affirm for months and months for something. I'd rather not bother. I would rather not bother than do that because I've got better things to do with my time. But if I can do it for 10 or 20 minutes a day in 2 split sessions for a few days, I mean, I would even do that. And then if it hadn't shown up in that time, I would just let it go then and think, well, I've done it now. I've put it in there. My subconscious knows what I'm intending. That's going to show up at some point, and I would believe that. So that is my conclusion when it comes to robotic affirmations. And again, it might be something you listen to and think, well, I can't do that, and that's fine. It's got to be what works for you. And for me, it's the easiest route possible. So I cannot have resistance because I am obsessive and I have to draw a line under what I do. A lot of my life, I do have to do that. I have to go, no, if you go this way, this is not going to be good, stop. But in other ways, I let that obsessive part of my personality come out because it allows me to really plug away at things and get things that I really want, because I'm getting that, and that's that. And I am obsessively, not obsessively manifesting, but feeling that, no, that's what I want. So I let it work for me, and I don't let it work against me anymore, which it has done in the past. So I hope that this was useful. If you don't know anything about me, I am a manifestation coach, I am a mindset coach, self-concept coach, and I sell books. So I write books, I don't just sell them, and they're all on my website, available to download there. I have a members area where I experiment. Everything goes in there. There's over 300 modules. There's courses, there's subliminals, there's meditations. There's an Ask Evie section, so you can speak to me at any time and ask me any question, and I will come back to you. And that's what that's all about. It's £5 a month. You just sign up. It will come out every month, but you can cancel it anytime. You have your own subscription panel, and if you don't want to do it anymore, just click cancel and it's done. It's done in that moment. There is no kind of time period at all. Right, thank you so much for watching.